practicing what we taught yesterday, go ahead and type the word action in the chat box. Let me see. Let me see the action-oriented people. If you know and you know that you started putting to work. We shared many deep things yesterday, very, very powerful things. But sometimes just one or two that you pick them and begin to execute, that becomes the advancement of your destiny. So go ahead and let me know in the chat box. All right, I see a lot of action. Happy to see that. That's so good. That's so good. Yes, yes, that is how you advance life. You see, I live by this quote that if I learn something new, I challenge myself to put it to use within 72 hours. I challenge myself to do that. Okay. All right. Good to see so many amazing people here in the chat box. And it is also helping me so that when I'm giving examples, I will definitely use real examples from here in teaching what we have to cover today. And for those who sent in feedback for yesterday, thank you. Thank you. I got incredible Philippines. Good, good. I got incredible feedback from the impact of yesterday. Some people said it was like a deliverance session for them. Yeah, yeah. All right. Today we're going to cover something very powerful. And I'm believing God that it will create another shift of manifestation, breakthroughs in whatever you all are building in your respective domain. I always like to say that nobody rises in whatever they are building above the quality of insightful ideas that they have and they can execute. And one of the most powerful things that you can know how to do is to know how to create an idea and package that idea, know how to communicate that idea, and distribute it with the mindset of mass commercialization. Anybody who can do this process have no business with poverty in their entire life. And I am somebody who likes to, there are few industries I have not studied from where they're coming from to where they are, and in terms of anticipation to where they will be 30 years from now. Like I like to go like 500 years backward. I begin to study. Where are these people coming from, right? Because it helps me to look at things from a deeper perspective. And I came to understand that among the many things I have been able to originate and create them and structure them is that the people that were able to rule their generation, they understood what I'm telling you. They understood that if I can create an idea, or you pick an existing idea and you refine it and you package it in a way that anybody can understand in your target market, then you go a step further and take the responsibility to master how to communicate it. And I spoke a lot about communication yesterday. And if you understand how to present and communicate it in a way that the person who needs that value can see the reason why they should give you their money and receive your value, but you don't earn at communication, you also pay the price to understand or to master distribution. You see, many people are struggling financially and struggling to be people of impact and influence because they have not mastered distribution. For example, there are many people here, like I saw somebody said that she's a nurse and then she is a certified marriage counselor. And many a times, people who do multiple things, they don't like to do multiple things. They there is something they love to do, and there's something they don't like to do, but they are forced to do it so they can make money. And one major challenge is many people are still doing the work they hate to do. Meanwhile, they have a skill, let's say like marriage counseling, that they love to do it. And that skill, I know many good marriage counselors that I've worked with that are making millions every month, right? So, but the challenge is they have not mastered the art of distributing the value they can create at the highest level to more people that can pay them so well that they will have no business trying to do other jobs, but focusing on advancing what they are building. You see, many a times, people that do so many things, because in this recent, at the beginning stage, many you're not supposed to do many things because of your limited experience, limited skills, limited, exposure, limited finances. In recent, you are not supposed to do many things. You're supposed to find one thing, become so good at it in terms of the quality of value that you create, and then master how to distribute it so well that you can make so much money. And if there are other things that you want to build, like what Dangote did not start having cement factories and all these several subsidiaries he now has in terms of petroleum refinery and many things. But when he became so good at importing and reselling, and he made so much money from it, he was able now to reinvest. And that's if you look at the pathways of many people that have multiple companies and they are very successful, that is literally what they did, right? So, and many people get stuck at this value distribution because you can have good value, and if you cannot distribute it at the mass level, you are going to find difficulties really making a good amount of money and at the same time being able to create that impact and wield that influence at a certain level. So today, I want to take us through a journey, and I hope that we can finish it because I have so much to share under this because it's a big challenge for many people. I want to talk about how we can stop sitting on any money making ideas. There's a research that I read. It's a private research done by a private company of somebody I'm connected to. It's not public. But these people came to the conclusion that when I heard this, it challenged me as a person too. And I hope it's going to challenge you that you're hearing this. These guys came to a conclusion that they have discovered that and every human being, an average human being, has the possibility of everybody has an idea in their life that if they work on that idea with the right skills, that idea can grow into becoming a $300 million business. That means every human being on earth, on average, has the possibility. They all have that possibility of becoming so rich in terms of dollars to the tune of $300 million. Like what I'm saying is, for everyone in this call right now, for everyone in this call right now, you can be $300 million rich. Now, convert that to your local currency. Please, for my Cameroonian brothers, don't try to convert it to francs. I'm not sure you have the right calculator to do that, right? All right. So it is important to see the possibilities that you have. Like many of you in the chat box were sharing what you all do. For example, uh, uh, um, Everest talks about tourism. And they said that is his idea. That idea has the possibility of making you $300 million in your lifetime minimum if you know what to do. Another person, Virginia, spoke about being an agile product manager. If that's what you want to do, and you want to turn that into a whole business institution, you have that possibility. Kumbai spoke about uh, uh, um, being wholeness and meaning in life. Okay, preacher, songwriter, whatever you want to do. Let me focus on social entrepreneur, right? Whatever you're working on as a social entrepreneur, being in the social enterprise, it has that capacity to grow into a $300 million business institution someday for everybody here. That's that possibility. And it's true because I, I am I love to research ideas. I love to read how people started. So read a lot on those ideas. And there are millionaires and billionaires in almost every industry you can think of. Almost every industry. Tell me an industry that you're wondering if somebody can be a billionaire in that industry. If we go to research now, we'll find somebody who is a billionaire in that industry. So it is not always about the industry. Most of the times, it is always about the person. And one major challenge is many people are not able to rise to this level of result because majority of the human race, they sit on their money-making ideas. What I'm also saying is that for people who are wondering if they can make money, I'm saying that you have a money-making idea in your life right now. For those who already have a few ideas that you have started building and you're wondering, can this idea become something powerful tomorrow? What I'm telling you is yes, it can become something powerful and an incredible money-making system for you. And why not for this generation? And I always say that what one of the major things that has moved the world from where it was 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 200 years ago, even 50 years ago, to where the world is today, it is ideas. You see, one of the most powerful things that you can know how to do is to create ideas, is to refine ideas. You see, because where the world is today, in terms of civilization, it is the power of ideas. Because just in 2010, let's say so, it was not possible at this level to gather 50 people, 100 people at the same time from 8 different countries, maybe 5 different continents, and deliver a program. It was not that possible. But because of the idea of virtual communication, virtual presentation, and virtual meetings, that is not possible. When the Wright brothers, and the main guy was a guy who had an accident and was bedridden and could barely walk, but he conceived the idea and started asking questions like, why can't humans fly like the way birds are flying? That was an idea. And he started researching about how many hundred years ago, 100 years ago per se, and he started discovering and researching with his brother to find out what can we do to also fly the way birds are flying. But it all started as an idea. And they started refining that ideas. I was reading that book and they said that the Wright brothers decided to write every library in the United States at the time, about 100 years ago, and they asked them to ship to their house every book on birds, aerodynamics, and what have you. And before that, many scientists had been researching on making sure that they build something that can enable man to fly at some point in history. But many people end up failing and they concluded that it would be impossible for man to fly. Yeah, many people concluded like that. But people who understood the power of ideas converted that. You see, so it is important that if you understand how to stop sitting, I like using the word sitting because everybody has that idea. We all have that idea that can become an incredible venture, a movement, a money making system someday. And this someday doesn't mean that 30 years after. This someday could be a few months from now, 2 years from now. Depends on your level of execution and your level of growth. You see, the world advances because of ideas. Nations advance because of ideas. That's why if you're somebody who likes to study nations and economics of different nations, you understand why the United States is where it is today and why many countries like Nigeria and Cameroon and Uganda and different countries, they are where they are today. Because any country that creates an environment where ideas can begin to thrive, that country must advance. That country must advance. Look at how powerful China is becoming every day because they understood this just about 50 years ago, and they created systems and structures and environments to encourage the people to create and build ideas because nations advance because of ideas. And any nation that understands how powerful it is for people to freely dream and provide the atmosphere and the resources for people to test and refine their ideas, that nation by default will begin to advance. Institutions advance because of ideas, and then individuals advance because of ideas. The speed that your life will advance will depend on your ability and your willingness and your openness to either create ideas, refine ideas, accept ideas, and execute on those ideas. Because you never rise beyond the quality of ideas that you have access to and you are executing. And that's why I always say that ideas not executed are spiritual miscarriages. Why? Because ideas are actually more spiritual. Someday, or I'm planning to teach us. I've been teaching something I'm going to do with those who are. I lead a community of Christian entrepreneurs and professionals. Well, I'm going to talk about the spiritual womb of ideas, right? Because there is a spiritual dimension of operating with high level ideas, you see. And ideas not executed are spiritual miscarriages. Why? Because every idea carries a potential. It's like a seed. And a seed that is not planted will die without impact. Same as an idea that is not executed will die without influence and income. See, one of the fastest ways to more influence and more income is your ability to launch ideas, to create ideas, to refine them, and to launch them. So it is something that you cannot just try to be good at. No, you have to be good at as far as your industry is concerned. You see, in terms of my work is in the knowledge industry. And not just any kind of knowledge, but my game is to play at the top 1%. If you are not bringing your best A game, you have no right to talk where I'm talking. That's my game, right? You play a whole game at a whole higher level and you push at a deeper perspective to be able to wield those kind of ideas that your industry can literally stand still because of the ideas you're bringing. And like I said, it's not some idea generation, idea refinement, idea execution, and idea commercialization. I'm telling you, it's not a nice to have skill. It is a must have skill if you will advance as a leader in your industry. But at the same time, if you're comfortable to just be you, you're comfortable to just be, average. Those kind of people that, oh, I am married, I have a house, I can drive a car, I think life is good. Then what I'm saying is not for you. But if there is a burning desire to be more in your generation and to be a disruptor, a major contributor, and you are conscious, you have that spiritual awareness that there is a purpose attached to me as a person, that there are many people that their purpose and their destiny can be handicapped if I don't live my purpose, then you need to play this game I'm telling you about. You don't have the luxury, you don't have the patience of sitting on your ideas. And that's why I'm taking time to explain this, because you need to know how to stop sitting on your ideas and start executing them, because it's a major skill. You cannot operate from the level of impact, influence, and high level income if you don't know how to do this. I wish there was a better way, because I could pamper you and say that, there's another way. No, there's no other way out of it. That's why everybody who lead their generation, either 500 years ago, 200 years ago, 50 years ago, or today, or in the next 30 years, they'll be doing what I'm telling you. It's the same pattern. You see, one thing I like to do is I like to identify patterns, right? So I noticed these particular patterns. I took time and I studied the top billionaires in the last 100 years, studied the current billionaires, and then I also started researching the billionaires of the future. Because I was trying to spot patterns. And among the many things I find is what I'm telling you today. You have to be good at it. And it's more easier today than 50 years ago to get good ideas. Although it is more competitive to succeed, but you still have the possibility of succeeding at a big scale because of the more resources that you have access to. So avoid spiritual miscarriages by making sure that you pay the price of executing your ideas. And the world has never rewarded thinkers. It's good to think, but if you end at thinking alone, you will never be rewarded by this world. That's why it's possible to see broke PhD holders and very wealthy, people who did not do so well in school, because the world does not reward thinkers. If you spend so much time thinking on ideas, the society would never reward you, because there is something else that the society rewards. And I like to call it structures. The society reward ideas that have been converted to structures. There's a teaching I did with my mentees known as the spiritual law of structures, right? And it's one thing God was teaching me, and He said, there are some things I cannot entrust to some people except they understand the divine law of structures, right? So the world rewards people who understand how to convert ideas to structures. What is a structure? A structure is anything or a system that you have created that can enable that idea to grow, to be systemized, and to impact other people effortlessly. You see, for example, let's say this morning school for 4 days is a structure. There's a structure. We wake up at 4 a.m., that's Cameroon time, and the time is there, the days are there, the platform is there, the topics I'm going to teach every day, they are there. Structure is created. That is what the society pays for. Many of you here have ideas, but those ideas struggle to fly and go places because there is no structure around those ideas. Ideas that have not gone through structurization and in a deeper marketplace level, we talk about productizing your ideas. That idea cannot wield influence and income. You see, if you look at where you are right now, in terms of the ideas that you have been having, and you look at the structures that you have around them, you either see no structure or you see very weak structure. And any idea that has no structure or weak structure, that idea cannot rise. It's just a law. That's why God had to create a structure in Genesis chapter 1 from day 1, day 2 to day 6. It was a divine law of structure. He could only build the earth and leave the earth to keep on expanding and translate the creation of the earth to man, because I believe that God did not end creation on day 6. God just transferred the creative abilities to man and then he rested. Facebook was not in Genesis chapter 1, but Facebook was in man in Genesis chapter 1, right? But he created a structure. He created a structure around that. So what I'm asking you is, before I even start telling you the 10 things that you have to do to stop sitting on your ideas, those ideas you have right now, what is the quality of the structure around that idea? There are many people, you see, I always say that money is spiritual. And one thing that attracts money in your life as a builder is the law of structure. Yes. If the ideas around you don't respect the divine law of structure, there is an amount of money you cannot attract. Because money is first of all spiritual before a physical manifestation. Do you think you have the right structure around what you're currently building? Type yes or no in the chat box. Type no. If it's weak, type weak. If you're confused, type confused. On YouTube, on here on Zoom. Go ahead. I like feedback. Let's be true. This is morning school, right? And we're a family here. And I always say that in morning school, I am not babysitting anybody. Yes, I am very raw. In morning school, I'm always very raw in my morning school. Almost I teach morning school like the way I teach my mentees. I'm more raw with mentees than every other group of people I teach. All right. So you see, some people are confused, some are weak, and all of that. So you have to do that because it is. So I say this now. It is. You see, one thing I don't know why God just loved me so much and revealed some things to me. Sometimes I will dream and I'll have dreams of a being from heaven teaching me things. Right. But look, everybody here, if there's one thing I want to advise you all to get right this year, please get structures right around your life. Please, if any of my mentees is here, can you go on my YouTube and get the video on the law of structure and share here in the chat box? Fortunately for you guys, I reviewed that, I put that video in public. There are more things that I've not released in public. So, but that video is on YouTube. Please go and watch that video. Listen now. Listen. There are some things that you have been wishing for and praying for. And heaven is saying there is a major law you are not respecting, which is the law of structure. You see, God must create the structure of separating light from darkness, day from night, before he starts building. You see, God must bring man into the scene when he has created a structure from day 1 to the other days. You get the concept? That structure must be there. Thank you, Philip, for sharing that. Please, there are many things that you are praying for. That structure around you does not support that. So pay the price and make sure you create the right structure. Because there are some things that when structure is there, by divine design, God orchestrates the things that you need to invade what you're building, to begin to visit you, to begin to visit you. Okay, so it's important to begin to understand that, right? So, like I was saying, the world does not reward those who think alone. There are many people with great ideas, but the world will go ahead and begin to reward you better when you convert those ideas into structures. It's important. It's important. See, many people don't lack talent. Never forget this. Everybody in this call right now, you're talented because God gave everybody a talent. Everybody. That's why I always say that talent is equally distributed. If you go to my village now, where I think vehicles still struggle to get there, we don't have electricity there right now, 2025. And like maybe many of your villages back in Africa, you got there right now where there are limited resources. Every young man, every young woman you see in that village right now is heavily gifted with something. When I was in that village, before Mama Celestine came and took me from that village, I was gifted with all these things I'm teaching you right now. Right? So everybody is heavily gifted. Every human being on earth. You are gifted at something that only you can wield in your generation. That is the pattern of God. That's the pattern of God. But for many people, it is lack of the conversion of that talent into a payable skill or payable value, and of course, structures that people can see, understand, and be willing to pay for it. Right? So, every skyscraper, every mobile app, every vaccine, every aircraft was once a raw and unrefined idea. You see, poor people don't lack ideas, they have very good ideas. What many of them lack is the systems that will force those ideas into a reality, into a structure that can cause somebody to pay for that idea. That is what they lack. You see, what I'm also saying is that many of us are where we are right now, not because we don't have ideas, no, because we have not created a system around our lives that can force those ideas to move from ideas into realities and structures that people can pay for it. You see? So, like, if I don't have systems around me that can force the ideas I keep getting and understanding and refining, that can bring these ideas into either a master class, a course, a consulting offer, a coaching, a product, whatever, that if I don't create the structures around the idea, people are not going to pay for it. You will not be here if the environment around me does not force the ideas I have into a reality structure that you can understand and be here at 4 a.m. in the morning. Because that is what people understand. That's what people pay for. But again, listen to my words. There must be a system around you that forces those ideas into that reality or into that structure. And many people don't have that system around them. So you see, let's say Mary and, and John. Mary has a system around her that does not force her to convert ideas. Remember, every poor person has ideas. Every poor human being, they all have ideas. A young man right now in a local area, in a rural area, in a village area where there's no electricity, no internet, no water supply, none of those things, that young person is super talented with raw talent. But the system around them, both the system that it is the government's responsibility and both the system that it is their responsibility. Now, for many of you that you are able to listen to me right now, it means you have internet, you have mobile devices or laptops, you have, power supply and many other things. Your problem is not that bad. The problem can either be your current system around you. For example, you have heavy entertainment and heavy comfort. And that kind of environment cannot force ideas that you have into a reality structure that can bring you that influence, that impact, and that income. For many of you that you have grown, if you are here, maybe you're already making 10 million a month. You are here, you're already a sub-director, a director in a big company, big NGO, international agency. Many of you are here like that. You are not struggling with what to eat, what to wear, what to drive. But you see, you are already feeling comfortable at that level. Meanwhile, there's more that you can do at a more global scale in terms of multiplication and flourishing. But you have not created a system around you that can force you to create a higher level of structure and value that can push you further at a bigger level. So, another reality check for you now is, does the system around you at the moment, I'm talking about your daily lifestyle, your weekly lifestyle. Like for those who are under a mentorship program, there's a program I do that they submit every week for those who are still doing it. And the aim of that program is to achieve this because it will put you in a fix where you are having that constant system that forces you on a weekly basis to keep converting either new ideas or existing ideas into reality structures that can begin to wield more influence, more impact, and more income as you consistently work on it. See, that's why for me, I like to create pressure around me. The pressure in the way that because it forces me to create more things. Like I always say, for example, what I'm teaching you guys right now, this content was ready to be taught about more than a year ago. The content I'm working on right now, I'll start teaching in 2026, maybe 2027. You see, because the environment around me forces me to operate from that dimension, from that perspective. But again, it's not for you if you love comfort and you love average life. But if there's more you feel that this generation is supposed to drink from you, then you need to understand this particular system. You need to get the point. Because let's go back to from the national landscape. A nation's economy begins to rise when they master how to export ideas. You see, show me a nation that imports more ideas. I'll show you a poor nation. That's why many African countries are poor. Show me a nation that exports more ideas. I will show you a very wealthy nation. Check the United States, check China, check Japan, check South Korea, right? Check India. That's why, because they're exporting. Like, for example, if somebody studies like North American markets between Canada and United States, why United States seems to be so big and always overshadowing Canada because the US exports more ideas than Canada. Now let's bring it to us as individuals. The more you import, the more you consume ideas, and the less you export ideas, the more poorer you're going to be as a person. You get the perspective. That's why in your field, in your industry, and what you're building, you must be in the game plan of also being the main exporters of ideas in your industry. I'm borrowing that from an economic national landscape concept so that you can practice in your daily life. So a nation's economic rise often begins when it stops importing so much and start creating ideas in their nation and also exporting those ideas. That's why I always say that the most dangerous person in any industry is the one who acts on their ideas. It's a potential successful industry disruptor. Because you see, that's why they always argue that wisdom is more powerful than intelligence. Because intelligence, for many people, is just being good at thinking, which is good. But wisdom is better because wisdom is the power of knowing what to do and actually doing it and delivering the value at that level. So there's something I always call wisdomized intelligence, which is it's not just about how many ideas that you have. It is about how many of those ideas you can bring into the market, into the public. That's wisdomized intelligence. You get the concept? So, in this journey of destiny for all of us, I don't know how to spend time on this. It's already 40 minutes gone. But I've not started giving you guys the 10 things that will show you how to stop. But I have to hammer on this because it's a big challenge for the African community. Big challenge. And once you begin to operate from this level of ideation I'm talking to you about, and as I'm presenting this, talking about this, you'll be able to notice that these are lapses that you have been facing the last 5 years or 10 years. And the sad thing is, if you don't pick these things I'm saying and practice them 10 years after, you will literally just do a little shift in destiny. Just a little shift. But you see, show me somebody who experienced a big leap in their destiny. I will show you somebody who, at some point in their journey, they accessed an idea, launched it, and on the wings of that idea, they rose to prominence. They just rose to a different level in destiny. And they did many of these things I'm telling you. At the same time, if you don't practice this, your life will experience a normal, what is it? Is it arithmetic progression? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, average normal growth. But if you want to experience a geometric progression, I am telling you, these ideation concepts, they must be part and parcel of your life. They must be part and parcel of your destiny. Very important. Because in this journey of destiny, for you and I, especially the younger generation here, you're 40 and below. I'm not excluding those who are 50 and above. It also works way, but I'm just emphasizing that if you're 40 and below, in this your journey of destiny, executed ideas are the vehicles that conquer territories. You want to conquer territories. You want to rise. You want to break into new territories and truly command the influence and also attract the wealth creation that is due you based on who God ordained you to be, then you must understand this concept and make sure that it is part and parcel of your daily practice. Because executed ideas are the vehicles that conquer new territories. You see, one time somebody hired me to go speak in a country because he read an idea I shared on Facebook and said, you just shared this few days ago. There's this conference I'm having, and I need somebody with this idea and their perspective to come speak in that conference. How much do you charge? Can you fly on this and this day? I said, yes, sir, I live for flying. Can we go? Right? So, because you see, ideas can literally move you to a whole new location faster, way faster than probably anything you can ever think about. That's why the divine law in Isaiah says that nations will come to your light. What is light? It's ideation, it's knowledge, it's wisdom, it's intelligence that can be executed. Nations will come to your light, and then kings to the brightness of your ideas. When I teach that, I teach that verse in a corporate setting, and people who are, if you are not a Christian, you may never understand that it's a Bible scripture I'm teaching. But there's a way that you begin to refine your ideas now with the concept of this idea now, it has the capacity to serve kings. But for it to attract kings, I need to refine it So it can be so bright that kings can notice it and say, this, I need this idea in my kingdom. I need this light in the empire I'm building. I need this concept in the nation I am creating to rise. You see, one of the biggest challenges that people face is that they, they delay a lot in executing their ideas. Every time you tell yourself, I will start very soon. Many of those are in my mentorship, they know that one thing I hate so much with passion is procrastination. I even have a book on from chief procrastination officer to chief execution officer. Because for many people in destiny, their ideas are not the problem. Delay and procrastination is the demon that is has been designed, well fashioned. A major for many of you here, procrastination is your own weapon fashioned against you, rising by the enemy. You think that weapon fashioned against you is just a witch who is dancing up and down, right? No, the enemy can fashion procrastination and it keeps you in bondage like a demon that it is. That's why I always say that consistency can kill a witch. I know the power of consistency. It has the capacity to break strongholds in a profound way and orchestrate you into a whole new season. Into a whole new season. See, there are things I've done in my life every day since 2012 to today. If in a year I have missed out doing that thing or those things, it can be maximum 2 times or 3 times. You see, anybody at a very high level in whatever they're doing, politics, business, career, football, soccer, music, one thing that you will find at that level is that there are the basics or there are core things. You know what in the spiritual setting they talk about consecration, right? That they have identified that as long as these things are the pillars of my daily living, I will stay at the top. You see, you don't stay at the top of significance by guesswork and assumption. No, there are things that must become the core of your daily living that keep you at the top. And if you don't have the willingness to do boring things every day for 50 years, for 60 years, you are not ready to stay at the top when you rise to the top. You see, so many people are still where they are because of procrastination. I will start soon. I will do this. I will. I will. I always say that I don't trust anybody with so many I wills in their discussion. I don't trust that person. Any I will without a deadline, if I talk to you now and talk again, you say so many I wills, and after the I will, I don't hear deadlines, I don't hear dates on when you're going to do that. I will start like, this guy, you are not serious for me to work with you as far as destiny is concerned. Because it's a major sign of a chief procrastinating officer. Because you see, the pain of procrastination is that you procrastinate to do something that you know that you're good at. And then you wake up one morning and you see somebody on Facebook or on LinkedIn making money from almost the same ideas, and they don't command the same brilliance and competence like you, but you see them cashing out from that idea. Anybody been in that spot before? Anybody? Type me in the chat box. You experienced that before? Like you procrastinated. Laziness and comfort kept you bound from really executing an idea and something. And then you wake up one morning on Facebook and you see somebody monetizing that idea before you. And maybe not with the same level of brilliance and competence like you would have done. And you're like, wait me. No, wait me. And don't call your innocent uncle in the village that is fighting your destiny. No, you, if you pray harder, you are the one that will drop dead because you are the main witch fighting your destiny, right? So, and it's the pain of procrastination in the marketplace. And this is so because the world moves so fast. So, the pain of procrastination is that when you procrastinate, you see, procrastination 100 years ago was not that costly. In 2025 and beyond, oh, procrastination can cost you your destiny. I'm telling you. Why? Because the world moves so fast. And let me go spiritual a bit. Do you know that the agenda of God will never wait for anybody? God can entrust you with the dimension of ideas and wisdom that your generation needs. And because you are lazy and a chief procrastination officer, God can take that mantle off you, take that calling off you, and give to somebody willing to run within the timeline that He wants the idea to be executed. Oh, yes. He's merciful, yes, but His agenda will not stop and keep the whole world waiting because you decided to become lazy and a procrastinator. And this works because God is so sovereign that God can use an unbeliever, a non Christian, to advance His agenda. Go and ask Cyrus in the Bible, right? So that's the pain of procrastination. So many people, we must need to pay the price of breaking out of this so we can begin to rise at a high level. Now, quickly, in clear steps, what can you do to stop sitting on money making ideas and start turning that potential idea into a profitable idea? Number one, I already spoke about it a lot. I will not spend some time here. The truth of execution. You must understand the truth of execution in destiny manifestation. You must understand the concept at all times for the rest of your life that ideas alone don't pay people. Ideas alone don't wield influence. It is execution that does. That is the truth of execution. The truth of execution is get your hands dirty. Get your hands dirty. You would never be paid for being too smart. No, you will only be paid for the ideas that you execute. There are so many smart people who are poor at execution. And when you begin to study history, money flows to execution, not to ideas. There are so many people with ideas, but money will only start moving towards the direction of the person executing that idea. And I do a lot of work with startup entrepreneurs. No one funds invisible work. There are so many people with ideas looking for funding. Majority of investors will never fund an idea. They will fund a proven idea, even if it is not making so much money yet. But if you have executed it, because nobody, no investor will fund an invisible work. That is an idea. They want to fund a proven idea, even if it is not making money at a high level. So, as simple as this, you get paid for solving problems in the marketplace. That is it. That's the truth of execution. And hear this, especially for those who have ideas towards business and social enterprise. You get paid for solving those problems. And until someone pays you, your idea is just a personal fantasy and not a solution. Let me say it again. Until someone has removed money from their pocket, from their bank card, and that person has given you that money because of that idea. Your idea is just your personal fantasy. Many people have many personal fantasies in the name of solution. No, it becomes a solution when you have converted that idea into a structured system that somebody can hear you present it, understand it, removes money and pay for it. It now becomes a solution until you make your first 1 franc, $1, 1 naira, 1 shilling, whatever, 1 pound. You just have a personal fantasy, which is good. Everybody starts there, but you need to keep on executing until it becomes a paying solution. And the law is that if it is not solving a real problem, it is not worth anything yet. If you say you have an idea, it's good. But have you been able to refine that idea to solve a real problem? That is when that idea is worth something. The worth of an idea is in the problem it can solve. For example, somebody said that the thing is, the gospel artist Akumbai, she spoke something about wholeness and things like that. That's good, right? Now, but if you just say, I want to read that exactly. She said, I help people to find wholeness and meaning in life. Now, that is good. But how is this tied into a problem? So she now needs to go deeper into that and begin to look at, for example, for, let's say, a married man who is an alcoholic. How does this idea of finding wholeness, how does it solve an alcoholic problem in the life of a married man who is a working professional, who is about to lose his or her job, or lose his marriage because of this thing? How do you tie this into this problem? That is when this beautiful grammar, which she says, I help people find wholeness, now becomes, it has some worth in it. You see, there are many people that say nice things, but those nice things have no worth. What makes it worthy is in how that idea is tied to a real problem in the life of a real human being. And that's why I always say that if your idea hasn't been tested in public, it doesn't exist yet. It's just your personal fantasy. So for many of you here that you have amazing ideas, the truth of execution or the law of execution is challenging you today that until that idea is tested in public, it doesn't exist yet in the real world. It's just theory. You know the sad thing? Broke people die with theories. People who execute die with influence and wealth creation. Number two, so understand the law or the truth of execution. Number two, understand the law of breaking down the idea into outcomes. Let me explain, but write it down. You must understand the law of breaking down that idea into outcomes. And what are the outcomes that every good idea must have? Number one, who does this idea help? Who does this idea help? That's one major outcome that you must break down or write down regarding that idea. Number two, what problem does it solve? You must bring out that outcome. Number three, what is the clear, visible result that somebody will have in their life by consuming your idea? If your idea does not have these three clear outcomes, clearly broken down and explained, go back to the drawing board. You have so much work to do. But if your idea, if you can clearly communicate the breakdown of that idea in this perspective, you have a powerful idea. Who does it help? Break it down. What problem does it solve? What is the clear, visible result? Because your idea isn't ready for testing or mass distribution and commercialization, for you to make money out of it if it is not outcome driven. Many people have sweet ideas. On paper and on grammar, they sound so good. But marketplace, relatable, zero ideas. So your idea isn't ready until it is outcome driven. Why am I emphasizing on this? Because no human being buy ideas. They buy result. They buy the outcome. Why do you go to eat in a restaurant? Because you are hungry. You see that? So always, any idea you have, whether it's a major idea or a sub idea to add to an existing idea, always make sure you get a pen, get a paper, sit on your laptop, whatever, but begin to break down that idea into outcomes in clear writing and thinking pattern. Because if your idea can't produce visible wins, it is not ready to leave your bedroom. That means you should not take your idea out of the comfort of your bedroom or your study room if that idea, you're not able to break it down and clearly package it or communicate it in a way somebody can understand the visible wins they are going to get, then that idea is not ready for the public. So work on that. Many people skip this stage and just go on building the idea. And that's why many ideas are in the market and not making money. Number three, the third thing to do in converting your idea into a profitable, how to stop sitting on your idea, is to launch a test. And I always find this say, launch a 7-day test instead of a 7-month wait. Now, what does that mean? You see, many people are currently sitting on their ideas because they are waiting for so long, because you may hear things like, I don't have a website yet. I don't have an office yet. I don't have this or that yet. If you do that, you will always sit on ideas. But to be a good business person and a person that in your generation, you'll be able to wield influence and impact and income with your ideas, you must be able to be comfortable at launching a test. You see, because momentum is more powerful than gathering all the perfect things that you need. For example, starting by writing, let's say, Facebook post and LinkedIn post around the idea to get feedback on how people are going to consume that content and react to it is part of the test. You gather data, or making up your mind that you're going to offer free results, free outcomes to 3 people to see how powerful your idea will be in their lives. That is you testing the idea, launching that test. You see, why? Because it has been proven that clarity lives in motion, not imagination. The more you make moves, the more you become clear in what you're building. You want more clarity? Be in motion. Momentum is more powerful than waiting for perfection. So always launch a 7-day test. I'm going to talk about this deeper when I explain the concept of always having a better version of what you're building. Next is silence the perfectionism trap. Silence the perfectionism trap. Many people struggle with perfectionism. If you're here like that, type me in the chat box. You want things to be so perfect, right? Many people suffer with perfectionism. If you're here and you are comfortable at launching dating ideas before you perfect them in the process, you are a millionaire in the process. That's one major sign of millionaires. Where they can launch things that are even scattered. They just launch it properly and they correct as they go. That's the major sign of billionaires and millionaires. You see those people that want everything to be perfect before they launch it. Oh my goodness. Those people end up being broke because the marketplace always abandon them behind because they want perfect colors, perfect lighting, perfect dress code, perfect, perfect everything. At the end, they are 7 months late. They're even 1 year late. They're even 2 years late. You need to conquer that habit. It's not a good habit for builders. It's not a good habit for builders. Okay? True builders are not perfectionists, they are refiners. So you must learn how to silence the perfectionism trap. It's very important. It's very important. Okay. You see, after coaching so many people for so long, I have concluded that perfection is, for so many people, is just fear with a good outfit. With a good outfit. You see, many people love to spend time polishing their ideas. And that's procrastination. Am I saying that you should launch dirty things in public? No. What I'm saying is you should understand how to have a ready product and not a perfect product. Because the market doesn't reward perfection. No. The market only rewards products that are useful. If what you're building is in a stage that somebody can use, please launch it and perfect in the process. Launch it and continue shaping it in the process. Because, like I said, real clarity often comes after you launch. And you know the funny thing? If you spend time focusing on perfection, the day you launch, you will still find mistakes. So, you only gain real clarity after you launch. Why? Because feedback will always sharpen what theory cannot sharpen. Feedback that you get after you launch will always sharpen what theory cannot perfect. So I always tell people, look, if you are building anything, please, your mission as a builder is to build something useful, not something flawless. That's the problem with perfectionists. They want to build something flawless. That's why perfectionists are very bad entrepreneurs. So you need to overcome that perfectionism. People who have this perfectionism lifestyle, they struggle to be good entrepreneurs and they struggle to be good leaders in the corporate setting. You see? But as a builder, as a leader, one of your major missions, one of your major objectives should be how can we make this useful, not flawless? Because even big companies don't practice perfectionism. If so, we will not have Windows 11 today for Microsoft. When I used to repair computers, we had Windows XP, Windows 94, Windows 2000. We will not have Microsoft Word 2015 or 2020, 25 that we're using today. When I used to repair computers, we used to install Microsoft 1997, Microsoft 1993. You see? But these companies understand that every year their mission is to launch a useful product, not a flawless product, because the other year we're going to improve it and launch it again. That's why Samsung, Apple, Techno, what have you, they keep launching new versions of mobile phones every year. Copy what they're doing. No great builder practice perfectionism. No, their mission is how can I launch what is useful now and go back to the lab and keep on refining what I have launched and continue to sell what is useful. So for those of you struggling with perfectionism, go and silence that perfectionism. It is killing your destiny. It's killing what you're building. because the market will always respect those who show up with what is useful, not those who stay in their bedrooms and they are practicing and rehearsing what they want to be perfect. There are many of you here that for your idea to grow big, for your company to grow big, you need to be good at speaking, you need to be good at training and presentation in public. But you are afraid that what if they will not understand what I'm saying? What if my language will not be good? What if, what if, what if? That is nonsense. Everybody started as a bad trainer, bad speaker, bad presenter. And you would never become a good speaker, good trainer, good presenter, what have you, if you are not comfortable at showing up at your level and keep on doing what you're doing and keep on perfecting it. And psychologists have proven that your brain cells, in terms of learning, they become more powerful and more effective when you take action on what you want to learn, not when you underlearn. The more you take action on what you want to learn, you learn faster. You learn like times 10 if you are only reading. You get a perspective. So you need to play that particular game. All right. And just to add, you see, execution attracts collaborators. It attracts mentors, clients, investors, because nobody invests or wants to partner with invisible ideas. So perfectionism will never attract anyone. There are many of you, you're talking, you're saying, oh, I don't have partners, I don't have helpers, I don't have investors, I don't have funders, I don't have this. Your problem is you are not showing up with what is useful. Because nobody partners with silent people. Nobody partners with perfectionism in their room. You see, you need to show up because only execution attracts collaborators. So you need to show up, wake up and begin to show up. Okay? It is very important. Do you want doors to open for you? Make moves. Do you want the right help from the right people? Begin to show up in the right buildings when everything is not perfect. Number 5, still linked to number 4. Price it even if it is not finished. Yes. Put a price tag on it. It's part of stop waiting for perfectionism. Price it even if it is not finished. You see, money is feedback. Money is feedback at all times. Why? Because until someone pays you for what you're building and what you're creating, you are literally still guessing. Right? One of the best ways I always advise people to do is while you're trying to build something and launch, put a price on it and start marketing it. Has anyone here ever come across a website or a promotion and people do paid ads, or you go to a website and they'll ask you to join a wait list? Anybody ever experienced that? You know, they use wait lists or things like that in order to start marketing what they are still building. It's one of the best ways to launch. It's one of the best ways to stop sitting on your ideas. For example, if you want to test an idea and you're wondering if people are going to like it, what you can do is create content around that idea, and post it on social media. You can create a WhatsApp group and tell people, if you are interested with this idea I'm about to launch in the next few weeks, join this WhatsApp group. You see, just the number of people joining because of what you have said when they have not seen the product is feedback for you. That's the meaning of price it, even if it is not finished. So you can promote it, put a price on it, and you are still building behind the scenes. You use that to gather that data that you actually need. You see, so pick a price, offer the outcome, collect the data. You don't know your offer is how real your offer is until someone says, how do I pay for this? You see, many a times that there are posts I've made on social media when I just want to validate a consulting offer I just developed or a coaching product I just developed. And when I get the reactions and the comments and the DMs, it gives me a lot of data around that. And I begin to perfect it. You see, and I always say that if no one has said, if no one has paid what you are trying to build, you are not yet an entrepreneur. Because one of the things that validates you as a builder and as an entrepreneur is when somebody pays you for what you are building. Because until there is a transaction in the marketplace, we read it as you are still offering theory and not structure or enterprise. Anytime you offer a structure, a productized idea, somebody will pay. So until there is a transaction, you are just offering theory. You have to move from theory to an enterprise or to a structure or to a product that somebody can understand and begin to pay for it. You see? All right. Now, what's the next number? Next number 7. Package it ugly, but make it useful. I spoke about this already. I always encourage entrepreneurs. Like I was saying, there are some people that they will not launch a business because they feel that they don't have a perfect office. They don't have a perfect this, a perfect that. I always tell people, package it ugly, but make it useful. And for many people, at the beginning stages, you don't have all the money to package like big companies are packaging. And the funny thing is, you can market the usefulness of a product in a poor package that people will not see the poor package. You see, because what is ugly but is useful will always beat perfectionism any day, anytime. So, what I'm saying is, you need to be comfortable at taking it out there, but make sure that you are good at making sure it is useful and take it out there. If you can deliver something that moves people from being stuck to experiencing progress, or whatever you're producing can literally produce results in the lives of people, then get it out there. Stop sitting on that idea. Always make the first move. Am I saying that I should launch terrible ideas? No. Use what you have at your level. Get the right package at your level. But don't sit on a good idea. And let me tell you something. Majority of the best ideas in the world, they experience what they call bootstrapping. They launched imperfect ideas, but they made sure that even though the ideas were not well packaged and they were ugly, as I was saying, but they made sure that even if this idea is not well beautified, but this idea must be useful. If somebody truly buys this idea and practice it, they will find the usefulness of this idea. For many beginning entrepreneurs, one of your major game to achieve is usefulness over beauty. When you start making money, you now invest on beauty. Sadly, many of you are still stuck because you want beauty and not usefulness. You are focusing on how do I make it beautiful? No, when you're still starting, you focus on two major things. How do I make it very useful? And how do I present it so well that people cannot even see that it's not that beautiful? It's a game. It's an entrepreneurial game. When you start making money, you can focus on beautifying it. Okay? It's very important. And push to talk to real people with your ideas. Get into DMs, WhatsApp chat, emails. Use these things as testing grounds to perfect your ideas. Why? Because every question is data. Every how can I pay for this? It's a validation of that idea. You see? Because that curiosity is important for what you are building now and in the future. Okay? So, lastly, and then we're done, is create a paid beta offer. Now, this beta is BETA. The beta concept started like in the 1940s. I was reading a book and I discovered that, right? Create a paid beta offer, even if only one person buys it. But I want to talk specifically on this beta offer, right? BETA. Now, it started years ago in the 1950s and 1940s or so, and this concept was created by companies and the military that were building what you can call military softwares or enterprise softwares. So they wanted to always test these ideas before they take them to the public. So they created two terms, alpha and beta, right? There were two terms. And the alpha term was used internally within the military and large enterprise software testing environments, right? So if they said that this is a version alpha means that this version of this product has been tested internally. For example, for you, let me say, let me pick I want to pick an idea here and give an example of version alpha. Okay. Okay. Fen, Fernando says that he's a builder and a contractor. Let us assume that Fernando is a new builder, right? And he can decide that, you know what, maybe his family members, his uncle, his parents, or his siblings can decide that, you know what, since you're a builder and a contractor in that area, we want to build a small boys' quarters. Do this for us. Now, since Fernando is trying to test his skills in a small internal setting in the family, that house that he will build, that boys' quarters, is the alpha version of Fernando's building skills or building company. So the alpha version, excuse me, is when an idea is tested internally. Then the beta version is when an idea is tested externally, but in a small group, right? So you create a paid beta offer. So one way to avoid sitting on money-making ideas is because sometimes people are afraid, what if I launch publicly? No, don't start by launching publicly. Start by creating a better paid offer. And you can identify 6 people, 7 people, or 10 people who are not your friends or family members per se, but people who are outside of you a bit. They could be Facebook friends that you have never met and so on. But you know that these people need this, your idea, and this, your skill. And you create this better offer, and you can charge a very small fee, or you can decide and tell them that I want to give you a discount, but I want you to use this idea and give me feedback. Because you are looking for people that can give you a genuine feedback beyond your immediate environment. Because a better version is never the final product, but it is functional enough for someone to use and understand the value you're bringing to the marketplace. When you release the beta version, the goal is let somebody use it while you observe and take the feedback and improve on that version before you now launch publicly. Because this better version of launching gives you early feedback and, most importantly, proof of value. You want to get proof of value from what you're building, you must create a paid beta offer. Right? So the goal here is I always say that paid better offers will help every entrepreneur, every builder to be smart enough before launching at a big scale. Many people make mistakes and they launch at a big scale without practicing this beta version testing, and it negatively affects what they are building. All right. So day two was focusing on challenging everybody in the morning school to stop sitting on ideas and giving you some steps. I have shared different things that you can try. You can try all, you can try two, you can try three, but based on where you are and the kind of idea that you're working on, pick what works for you. The recording is available. You can go through again and make sure that you are taking refined notes and refined ideas that you are contextualizing into where you are and, of course, into what you're building. And I believe that if you practice any of this, and especially also for those of you that you are already building, you are not starting afresh. You're already seeing some results. You're already producing some good sales and making some good money. You can 10x what you're doing. And you can never 10x beyond the quality of ideas that you can internally generate or bring it from outside to enhance what you're already doing. I'm even planning another morning school to just teach just business people on how to expand and make money from within. Because I noticed that many entrepreneurs don't know how to make money from what they're already making money on. If you're already making money from any product, if I sit with you, we can find at least 5 more ways to make more money from what you're already making money from. Right. So I'm going to do another morning school just for entrepreneurs who are already making money on how to find more ways to generate value from what you're already making money from, craft more better products so you can have more offers and sell to more people, because it is very important. But you can still use what we have handled today to also help you do that in your business. All right. I have room for one question and then we are done for day two of the morning school. Any questions? You can raise your hand or you can type in the chat box or in the comment section. For those on YouTube, any questions, any feedback in the chat box, give me what did you pick that challenged you? Yes. Precious, go ahead. Or you can type your question in the chat box. If you don't have any question, give me some feedback. What is the one thing that you're picking from this day two morning school that you're going to execute in what you're building? Give me some feedback on YouTube and here on Zoom. Yes, Precious, go ahead. Are you typing or you're going to talk? Is there another question? Please always try to ask your questions here. Don't come on WhatsApp and begin to send me. I will not have time to reply to those questions. So I deal with clients at that level. If
Good
you're not
morning, Doc.
paying me money, I'm not under pressure to answer your questions for free, Abby. All right. So ask your questions here if you're not a client. Yes, go ahead.
All right, Doc. I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you so much for the lesson. I wanted to find out because here's my issue. Um, I have a job in tech that I'm doing as a
Mm,
public relations officer, and for about a year now, I've been I'm trying to do a transition into the mental health space, that is youth advocacy for teenagers. I mean I've been reading some things around there for a while now, and I gathered a lot of statistics from World Health Organization, UNICEF, and about teenage mental health. I mean, and it's really been speaking to me. So I've been trying to build something. So my real issue is this transition. So let me just say what I've been for the past months that I started reading around there. So I started creating content around there, just throwing my thoughts, things that I've been discovering and all that like. And I even started taking some courses, but I don't yet know how to create, let's say, a business around it. I'm just reading and sharing, but still keeping like just going ahead with my work. So as I have a conflict of putting my work out there and then putting my new interest, just making that transition. So that's kind of where I am. So I want to find out what strategies I can use to do a smooth transition or to nicely transition out into where I feel is the place where I want to be.
So, have you decided that you said mental health, right?
Yes, though.
And you want to focus on teenagers.
Yes, though.
Okay. Why teenagers?
Um, Teenagers because I realized that from the research that I was carrying out, I realized that they have a pattern of suffering from mental health. That's number one. And it's affecting the next generation of leaders. Like there's a whole I see a whole gap in leadership, the next people who are growing up. And while, I mean, the world is focused on technology and
Okay.
improving, the people
Okay.
for those things, I mean, there's like, they are lacking.
Okay. I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
All right. So, and you want to do this as a full-time thing, both career, full-time job, full-time business. Is that your aim?
Yes, though.
Okay. Now, this is a kind of idea that you may need to scale a bit and go beyond teenagers. Now, you see, passion and purpose is good, but passion and purpose that you cannot make money from to multiply what you're doing will not help you. So, teenagers are good to serve them, but you struggle to sell because they are the consumers, but the customers are their parents, right? People can pay you, they are their parents. And it makes sales a bit challenging to a certain extent, and especially if you are like in Europe or in the United States or Canada or these developed countries, it'll be easier because parents will happily want to pay. But in Africa, it's still like an unpopular sector per se, and all of that. But I would challenge you to push a bit with your expertise and your skill set in how can you serve adults at that level, especially bringing it back to the field where you already are, because you are already kind of in the tech industry per se, or in communication, right? Now, have you been to identify that tech people struggle with mental health? Have you identified that?
Yes, I have.
Okay, because I'm taking you towards a business pathway, right? So people that can start paying you when you create the offer, when you create the services as a mental health, technician or expert or consultant and what have you. So if I have mental health issues and I'm making money from my job, I will easily pay you if you present to me a structured, we're going back to structure, a structured program that you're telling me that I have created a mental health framework that if I work with you for 3 months, you will come out victorious and have a strong mental resilience and overcome some hurt or whatever and live a victorious life and things like that. I will effortlessly pay for you because I have the problem, I am the consumer, I am the paying customer, and I'll pay for you. You get the concept? So mental health is a growing industry and will keep on growing in the next 50 to 100 years, possibly. So, and it has so much money. That's a fact, right? So the strength of this is also an idea that you can start part time and the strength of this kind of business is in the systems or the services that you have packaged that people can understand, right? And you can start with, for example, if you don't work on Saturdays, you don't work on Sundays, you can start with, let's say, a 2 days mental health coaching boot camp, for example. Market it, put a little price. You can start with 1,000 francs just to collect data. Also, because mental health is not popular in the African setting like in the West, because you're in a field that is not as popular as technology or as university education or as agriculture. So you're not just trying to sell, but you're trying to also raise awareness and popularity around that, right? So you can start creating programs around your weekends or around, evening programs, and you create the structures around it, create different programs, and then promote it, get people to sign up, get them to pay kind of what they call low offer. And you're using that to collect more data and understand the kind of problems that people are facing with you. You start discovering, will you best serve them through group coaching, one-on-one coaching, or you're going to organize boot camps, you're going to create workbooks and what have you. And you can do that by the side in a small scale. And the more you do it, the more you become good at it, the more you increase your pricing. And if your pricing is increasing, you start noticing that what you are making a month is equal to your current monthly salary or more, then you can resign from it and then transition into doing that full time, right? So that's what I'll advise you to do. Did it provide some clarity?
Yes, Doc, it has greatly. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right, good. All right, people, I have time for one question. See you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Please ask tomorrow. I cannot take more time. I need to go talk to my wife. Right. So tomorrow, 4 a.m., same time. If you're in other countries, please convert that to your local time. I keep saying 4 a.m. Cameroon time because I started this program when I was in Cameroon by then, and more than 80% of the participants are Cameroonians. Okay, so that's why it's morning school, but it's still favoring Cameroonians the more. So the more we have people from other countries, the US, Canada, I will start breaking it out to hosting it with people in various countries that fits their time. All right, people. Thank you all for the feedback on YouTube. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow. Day 3 will be mind blowing. So I'm taking it step by step. Yesterday was industry image. Today was to help you to stop sitting on your profitable skill. Tomorrow we'll take it a notch higher and towards real monetization and things like